What's going on, everybody? For USA Muay Thai, my name's Nate Freeman. I'm joined today by the 2023 Elite 67 Kilo National Champion, Manny Fernandez. Manny, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nate. How are you?
Fantastic. Can't complain. So let's go ahead and go into talking about your experience at the National Championships. You were the only athlete there to compete all 3 days, and you won all 3 days. And in the finals, you scored a stoppage victory over Chike Obiano. Just talk to me about your experience at the National Championships, and I don't know if you have thought about each fight to break them down, but just talk about your experience there and your experience in the competitions as well.
Yeah. It was a great experience, man. It definitely brought the best out of me. I guess anytime you step in the ring, you're really stepping into the unknown, but there was that extra element of stepping into the unknown with this tournament, with just not knowing who any of the fighters were and not really being able to watch much footage of any of them. So I'm grateful, man. I feel like my name has been under the radar for the past 2 years. I don't have many fights, so this was a great opportunity for me to kind of put my name on the map.
Let's talk about that a little bit more then. You are, like you said, putting your name on the map. You're representing our country over in Thailand. What does it mean to you? For those that don't know, you are a first-generation American. Both your parents, your dad came from Cuba, your mom came from Panama. So what does it mean as a first-generation American for you to represent your country? And not just that, but represented in an international competition?
It's great, man. I love the USA. It's obviously home. It's where I was raised. But my first language was Spanish, so I put a lot of pride and there's a lot of love behind the blood that runs through my veins. So I'm grateful.
Absolutely. So obviously we've already sort of touched on this, but you're going to Thailand to represent the U.S. in the IFMA World Championships. And anyone who's anyone in Muay Thai has to make at least one trip to Thailand. Is this going to be your first trip to Thailand?
Yeah. First time going out there.
So what are some things that you're excited about in going there, other than the competition itself? Obviously, you can talk about that because that's a massive competition. But is there anything else that you're excited about doing once you're over there?
Yeah, I'd say number one is food. I'm just kidding. I'm spending 10 days after my competition training at Samat Payakarin's gym. Obviously, he's the GOAT, and he also happens to be my favorite fighter that I study a lot. I probably watched his film more than anybody else's in all of combat sports.
All right, yeah, that I was gonna get into that as well. So you beat me to the punch there.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah, no pun intended at all. So I mentioned earlier that you are a first-generation American. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your family's journey to America and how you got to where you are today through your family.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. My father came here when he was about 16 from Cuba. He was escaping right as communism was about to start, and he was fighting revolutions and stuff like that, and he didn't want to be a part of what his country was turning into. So he came here for a better opportunity. Brought his sisters over. His mother was supporting all of them. By the age of 18, 19, he had like 2 or 3 jobs and was just really grinding. And he was able to buy the property that my mom and I stay at now, which is like a 30-acre farm. And it's a beautiful place. I've got goats and chickens and 1 pig. And he just took a lot of pride in it, man. Like, that was his castle, you know, that was what he got from coming here with nothing, literally nothing. Him and my mom met on a plane. She's from Panama. She came here when she was about maybe 23 or so. And she's about 18 years younger than him. And they met on a plane, and that was it. And they started their life together here around 95 or so. I was born in 2000.
Man, that's great. They met on a plane. I think that's really interesting. They I guess they were seated next to each other and just sort of hit it off while they were in the flight, or
My mom must have thought my dad was a good looking dude, because she actually sat in the wrong seat on purpose. She saw an empty seat next to him and sat next to him, and yeah, that was that. They were on their way to Panama, actually. She was on her way back the first time to visit family, and yeah, that was that.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your family owns a farm in Virginia. Can you talk a little bit about your experience growing up in a farm, or on a farm, I should say, and what I know that farming instills a lot of hard work and things like that. So maybe some things that you've learned by having a farm.
Yeah. In combination with growing up on a farm, I also was raised with the trade of doing construction too. So I kind of always work with my hands. I take a lot of pride in that too, because it's almost an underlooked and underappreciated skill. But for me, it's primal. For me, it's one of those things where, I mean, you build something from the ground up, and you have this final product. It's this satisfaction you get from it, and that's unlike anything else. And combination of that and taking care of animals, and obviously maintaining the grass and everything like that. It's a lot of work, man, but it's very humbling.
Is there anything about farming that people may not expect? Like, is there some not necessarily secrets, but is there some things that people see in farming that aren't necessarily true, or there's some things that people don't consider?
I can somewhat speak on that, because we never ran the farm as a business. It was always just a place of peace. It was always a place of gathering. Always have people over, that kind of thing. And but no, I can't speak too much on maybe what would be unexpected from that lifestyle.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's get into some rapid fire questions. Just sort of some real quick get to know you questions, and hopefully fans will get to know you a little bit better. What is your favorite striking technique?
I guess the teep now, but originally for years it was the sidekick.
And why do you say the teep now? Is that just something you've been working on a lot?
Higher percentage, I guess.
That's fair. That's fair.
Can't.
Your favorite either book or your favorite movie?
The Secret by Rhonda Byrne is my favorite book.
And what's that about? I've not heard of that.
It's about the law of attraction.
Okay.
So,
awesome. Yeah. You mentioned your favorite Muay Thai athlete. Is he your favorite athlete overall, or do you have a favorite athlete outside of combat sports?
He's my favorite of all time. I love his style and his personality too.
All right, fantastic. If you had advice for, actually, before we ask that, I meant to ask this: how did you get your start in Muay Thai? How did you find the sport, and how did you get to where you are today with Muay Thai?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still just learning the culture of it. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the culture of Muay Thai. I love the respect and discipline and everything. But I started with MMA. I had 5 amateur MMA fights. Uh, I was watching UFC since the age of 11, 12, and I just immediately fell in love with it. Uh, I recently got my purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So that the combination of everything is what really started my love for it. Over the past 2 years, I decided to really try to take my striking to the next level, and I just haven't gone back since. I'm in love with the sport.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're happy to have you representing Muay Thai, especially for USA Muay Thai. So, if you had any advice for yourself when you were getting started in martial arts, whether that be MMA, since you got started in MMA first, I guess that one. But if you had any advice for yourself looking back now, what would that advice be?
Keep the promises you make to yourself. You know, uh, it's so cliche to say keep going, right? Don't stop, but that's really what it boils down to. You know, life's gonna throw a bunch of blessings your way, and it's gonna throw a bunch of crazy stuff your way too. So if you keep that promise, you'll be able to look yourself in the mirror every day, and even if it is a rough day, you at least respect yourself for keeping the promise you made to yourself.
So, what are some promises that you made to yourself?
Yeah, I want to be the best in the world on the pro scene.
Fair enough. Yeah. And what do you think that looks like to you? I think this is part of it, but is there anything else that goes into that?
Just years of work, trying to rack up fights. I'm trying to get as many fights as I can in this year, and
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the biggest part.
Yeah, yeah, and this plays a large role into that. You, like I mentioned, were the only athlete to get 3 fights at the national championships, and you're sure to get a lot of fights, especially in your weight class at the IFMA Worlds.
Yeah,
Um, so before I let you go, there are 3 things for people to connect with you. A, how can people follow you on social media? B, I know that the trip to Thailand comes out of your own pocket, and I know a lot of our athletes are doing like fundraisers and things like that. So if you have an opportunity for people to support you in that way, feel free to let us know about that. And then C, I'll give you the floor to give any shout outs to sponsors, coaches, anything like that.
sweet. Yeah, my Instagram is mma.nny. My GoFundMe is actually in my bio. Um, Thankfully, I've received a good amount of funds from family and friends and stuff. The love runs deep. I also wanted to give a shout out to obviously my JME side, Muay Thai, but I also want to give a shout out to one of my main sponsors and really close family friend. Excuse me. It's Drain Punch Carl. He's really helped me be able to compete as often as I do now. I mean, it seems like I'm traveling every month and a half or so, or 2 months, and he's helped me cover my trips and stuff like that. So he makes a drain punch cleaner for clogged pipes, and his product is just exploding. I mean, it's you can hear about it all across the East Coast in the plumbing community. So he's doing a great job with that, and he's doing a great job with helping me with my journey.
Fantastic. This has been Manny Fernandez. You can catch Manny competing in the IFMA World Tournament in Thailand in May in the Elite 67 kilo category. Manny, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you represent us in the IFMA Worlds.
Thank you for your time, Nate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.